Hi and welcome to the reading of Act 3, Scene 5. If you turn to page 122 of your No Fear Shakespeare books, I'll read for you a summary. Hecate, Queen of the Witches, chastises them for approaching Macbeth without her. She instructs them to, next time he calls, fill him with overconfidence to destroy him. This image will represent Hecate, Queen of the Witches. This image will represent the first witch.
Why now, Hecate, you look angrily.
Have I not reason, beldams as you are? Saucy and overbold, how did you dare to trade traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part, or show the glory of our art. And which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son. Spiteful and wrathful, who as others do, loves for his own ends and not for you. But make amends now, get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide, your charms and everything beside. I am for the air. This night I'll spend unto a dismal and a fatal end. Great business must be wrought ere noon. Upon the corner of the moon there hangs a vaporous drop profound. I'll catch it ere and come to ground, and that distilled by magic slates shall raise such artificial sprites, and by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear his hopes 'bove wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is mortal's chiefest enemy. Music plays off stage. Hark! I am called. My little spirit, see, sits in a foggy cloud and stays for me.
Come, let's make haste. She'll soon be back again.
Okay, and that is the end of Act 3, Scene 5. So one important note to know about this scene is that many scholars do not believe that William Shakespeare wrote it. That is because the song that you heard briefly in this section was actually written by another man named Thomas Middleton, who was also a playwright at the time, and he wrote a play called The Witch, in which this song, Come Away, was performed, which is why a lot of people believe that this scene was written by him. So there are only a few things that I want to point out to you to annotate. So if you'll turn back to page 122, I will tell them to you. So the first one is on line 1, and that's the word beldam, and that means an old hag. And if you remember back to studying the graphic novel Coraline in year 8, you might remember that the other mother is a beldam, which was an old hag. You can see on line 2 the word saucy, and that means rude or insolent. So you might remember in year 10 when we studied Romeo and Juliet, Capulet calls Tybalt a saucy boy, meaning he's being rude. We'll go down to line 11. There's the phrase a wayward son. So Hecate is saying that she's not happy that they have given these prophecies to Macbeth and they've led him to become king because he's a wayward son, which means a spoiled brat. If we go down to line 15, there's reference to the pit of Acheron. And Acheron is a river in Hades, which is the Greek idea of the underworld. Acheron is in that. Line 21, Hecate says that they will draw Macbeth to a dismal and fatal end, which means a deadly purpose. So, she will create a dismal and fatal end, which means she has a deadly purpose. So that is her giving way that they plan to kill Macbeth. On line 24, we can see the word profound, which is referring to her powers being hidden, so hidden powers. The next 2 lines down, there are 2 words. The first word is slates, and slates here means spells. And the next word, it's actually a phrase, artificial sprites, which is like fake ghosts. The idea that the ghosts that perhaps Macbeth's seeing, and this might make you think twice about Banquo, aren't real, they're artificial. And if you just look at that whole section from line 25 down to line 30, it's showing that the witches are planning on tricking Macbeth with fake visions. And that makes you think twice about everything that he's about to see in the next act.